can children improve their reading speed and comprehension?
There are a couple of very simple things that children can do which will instantly improve both their speed and comprehension. Maybe not drastically, but a small improvement is worth having. The first is that if a child has a reading book or a passage, they should get an overview of it. So if, for example, they have a reading book such as this, they should take in the cover, any text on the back, look at the structure of it, if there's a list of chapters in order, just to get an overview of it, and then where the part that they're reading fits in with the overview. So they get an overview first to get an idea what kind of literature it is, which helps to put it into perspective and aids with comprehension. Now, when it comes to reading, in order to understand what you're reading, it requires a lot of concentration. It means that the child reading the book has to focus only on what they're reading and cannot have other thoughts intruding at that time. Now, that means finding a quiet place, somewhere which is well lit, somewhere where the child can sit comfortably with the book in a convenient position and at a convenient distance, not too close, but not so far that you're straining to read either. Some comfortable distance, and square on rather than tilting. Like if a book is placed on a table, it's probably at the wrong angle unless it's leaning on something so that it's square on to the eyes. So those are, if you like, the ideal conditions for reading: well lit, square on to the eyes, and the ideal distance in an environment where there are no distractions. So that's the environment. Now, to read effectively, sometimes children, well, not only children, but we all end up rereading a line or skipping back and rereading a certain word or parts of a line because we didn't understand it. And that really slows you down with the reading. So it's better, in fact, to keep reading and to not worry about that word or that phrase that you didn't understand. Because what tends to happen is as you read on, it falls into perspective within the context, and then you understand the gist of it, which is the main thing. So the tip is keep reading, don't skip back, and don't reread parts, and that will immediately improve your reading speed. But it also helps to improve your comprehension because you're reading more quickly, so you're taking in whole ideas at a time, if you like. If you read a word at a time, you're doing it wrong. You should be taking in several words at a time. And that means that you get to the end of a sentence, which is one complete idea, that much more quickly. And therefore, there's a better chance that you'll understand the message of the sentence. And then, of course, because you're reading a little bit faster, you're also getting through a paragraph more quickly. And therefore you get the gist of what that paragraph was about. Often children are told not to run their finger along the page because it looks childish. It looks as if they're not advanced or good readers. But in fact, the opposite advice would be more appropriate, is to actually use something in order to follow the lines on the page. And rather than using a finger, which is just a little too broad and short, it's better to use something like a pencil, but use the blunt end so you don't end up marking the book unintentionally. If you use a prop such as a pencil but the blunt end, then you can use that prop to run along the text reasonably quickly and force yourself to keep reading the words line by line, more or less at a steady pace, and don't skip back. So by using the prop, you're preventing yourself from skipping back and you're forcing yourself to keep reading. Now, that not only will make you read more quickly and stop you skipping back, but it also help your eye to focus in the right place, so that rather than trying to find your place by eye, as it were, you have a pointer that helps you to focus your eye where it needs to focus. And that means that their reading is less strenuous on the eye. You'll notice that my prop, the pencil, isn't going from the beginning of the line to the end of the line. It's starting partway along the line and ending, the movement of it is ending before the end of the line. So you're actually only moving the prop about halfway along each line. And that's because you're not literally reading one word at a time. You're actually taking in several words at a time And this all helps with speed and comprehension of reading. So this is a very simple strategy, using a prop in order to not just find your place, but to keep you moving forward through the text. It's a very simple strategy. And at first it can be disconcerting because you think, oh, wait a minute, I haven't understood that. But that's really only because of bad reading habits that we develop over the years. We become dependent on going back, skipping back, rereading, and things like that. So it takes a bit of time before you adjust to the new way of reading and find that, oh, actually you've understood it very well without the back skipping, and you've understood it more quickly. So this, if children practice it, would be an asset not only in an exam situation where time is tight and you have to read and understand quickly, but it's a life skill too, because we all have to do a lot of reading, and the more quickly and effectively we can do the reading, the more reading we can do, or the less time it will take us to do the necessary reading. So it's a very simple strategy. To sum it up, once you've got your overview, simply use a prop, such as the blunt end of a pencil, in order to run along the line and keep going at more or less a steady pace, and so you don't back skip. And the other thing is, don't try to read and understand one word at a time. You should be taking in several words at a time, and you shouldn't be trying to understand the sentence until you get to the end of it, because the thought is not complete until you've read the whole sentence. And sometimes the point of a sentence isn't obvious until you have read the next couple of sentences, because that puts it into context.